No, just.
I went on the thing and then I printed out the one video. I don't.
Okay, let's take it this way. As I'm answering it, you understand? You compare it with your own to save our time. So where you probably, if it's where you cannot get it, can then correct it from the one I'm going to do. So we are starting with the solution to this assignment. So let's go through the assignment to understand what we are actually asked to do. So message to you as a data scientist from Eguero Prosper, lead data scientist. Subject, clean up what? Columns. Hi again, thanks for getting the data in the correct format earlier. Can you also help whatever? Let's go to, okay. Yeah. Can you also help? This is the assignment now, eh? I am coming. I just want to understand it properly. So can you also help me with some column cleanup? There are some null values that this is typographical error. There are some null values that, okay, that I think makes sense to fill in the what? Fill in with zeros, since those are field that the student leaves blank. Can you also create a new column that flags students who really love a video game, those who play over 7 hours a week? Thanks. So your key objectives are: find the missing value, fill in the missing value with 0, create a new column called video_game lovers, set the value to 1 if a student played more than 7 hours of videos game. Each week, set the value to 0 otherwise. So that is the assignment given. So let me add this comment as assignment solution. So we are starting from there. Assignment solution. Assignment solution. Let me mark down. So let's go to slide. And so this is where I highlighted what? That question that we just read through now. Now, the first thing we are going to do, remember that this assignment was actually given to us to test our column modeling, right? Or column, how do I call it? Column perfection techniques. Remember that we are still under, preparing the data for what? Modeling. And we've concluded on rows, all the techniques that are involved to set your rows in the right order to be passed into a predictive analytics model, right? They will now say that it is also important that you also consider your column restructuring. That is why you need to reshape or correct errors in column. And that is where this question or this assignment is coming from, trying to understand or to find out whether we have actually learned all the skills required to prepare column for what? Modeling. So the first task is find the missing what? Value. Find the missing value. Find the missing value. Now, let me also explain that in my slide using, my notebook. So the first task, so this is the first question from the objective highlighted. Find the missing values. So from the data set we are going to work with, we are going to check whether there are missing value. That's the first task. Now, if you check here, this is where, before we start, let's look at the data frame itself in which we are asked to find the missing value. Now, this particular data set, I don't know if we have loaded it into our notebook. The title is what? Entertainment. So if I could go back to my directory now and check whether I have it here. I don't think we have it here. Okay, good. Under data. So which one did you use? I think it should be this one with a cell, right? It should be a cell. So which means that I have to start by loading it here. So let me quickly load it. So I'll be using comment to explain. So the first thing is load the data frame required. So what is the data? Since it is Excel data, so let me give it entertainment. Entertain. Let me use entertain equals to entertain is equals to PD, because I believe we must have imported pandas as what? A library. So read underscore Excel. Read underscore Excel. Then the name of the file is a string. So let's go back to the directory and simply right click on it. Then copy the paths. Copy path. Then switch back to your data. Then Control V. Then of course, to avoid URL complication, I will just use relative, or I can as well use just the name of what? The file. So let me see if this option will work for me. If it doesn't, then I'll fall back to the other method. So let's see if it will work out. So no URL. So I think I need to use to go like this. So how has it not gone?
No, not that. The original one.
The original one of it. So let's see if it will go like this. Okay. Now let's use the relative method. Let's also use the relative method. Let me see what error is it saying. No such file or what? Directory. So let me rerun my cell again. I noticed sometime I am having this issue. So it could just be that still the same error. Error 2, no such file directory. Okay. So let me use just what do I have here? It's like I pasted it twice. Oh. I pasted it twice. I pasted it twice. Let me try it like this now that it should go. They all work like this, Abi. It depends on the notebook actually. All these options usually work, but depend. That is why it's good for you to know other options if it doesn't work with your notebook. So now we have our data. So if I just want to find out by just running the name of the data sets, remember the shortcut method, I can just do the name of the data set, en, then tab 2 times, then dot, can just do dot head, just to find out if we have the data here. I don't want to call out much. So this is the data. So the first thing I'm going to do, just for me to confirm if I'm actually working with the right data, I'll go back to the question. The headers mentioned, are they in that data? The answer is what? Yes. They are in that data now. We mentioned the video. Remember the task, the objective. Yes, we will. But at least we have seen that this is the data. Because we have to restructure it so that this could become what? Headers. I just want to be sure that these data have the requirement. Okay, so now we have just called out the data. So the next thing we are going to do now is row what? I thought we have Oh, that is going to take us to. Hey, let me check. No, I wanted to know. I don't want to go back to those steps of, the raw granularity. That is what I want to know. Because I don't want to start going through that process for now. That may just consume the entire time. So let me just see if there's a place where we have sorted out that we can just call the data back and continue. Were you able to find it in your own that day? Okay.
Yeah, I think the continue should be all. We use them.
That's you.
No, I use entertain instead of entertainment.
So with that.
But here we have done the raw granularity. Good. So there's no need. Thank God, because this would have just our time. So there's entertainment, right? Entertainment. So instead of this, that means I don't have to. I should leave this one. Okay, I don't want it to, so that the person that will be watching video now will not think that it's a must that we go through this. So we just call it entertainment. All right, so definitely there are missing value. Remember that there was a function we ran. What you said? Whether it's not the same, right? Not the same. Okay. At this point, we have not applied the raw granularity. Don't worry. I think we should get the version of it. That was when we called it out raw. Let me see. I think I should be able to get it. Where was the place we got it from now? Down, I mean. Here. But there's a place where I noticed I was seeing all the header as in video game. Okay. This is it here, right? No, what happened is that I have to save it. I have to save this one in a different data. So I did not save. So if I want to get it now, I have to come here and save it as, let me just save it so that it will override that one. Are you sure we are not going to run into problems override? Okay, let me just use entertain. I'm just calculating so that I will not run into that challenge you ran into the other time. We don't need them now. We have already gone past that stage. Right? So let's see what entertain equals to. Entertain. Or what were you suggesting? Okay, why don't you use the same entertainment? That one will override the original data. Let me just work with this. So now it exists. So if I come here now, let me go down to where we actually need it. I think it's correct now. So we have our row in proper structure. Now, remember the question says that we should check for what? Missing value. So if I have to check for missing value, in this case now, to save our time, we will use the fastest way of checking for missing value, which I recommended. We can use this NA, we can use other method, right? But when we summarize our data with .info, the number of column and the number of column counts, the value under the column counts, all right, will give us an insight whether there's missing value. Like as you can see here, this one is counting 150. While this one is counting what? 145, which automatically tells you that what? Under book column, there are how many missing value there? 5. So that is why I don't want to go through its NA. I will just directly use .info to check, right? So let me just say here, remember that we are writing it here. So let me just add .info to it to avoid generating too many cells. So .info has outputted, just like the report we got in the slide now, which shows that for us not to have the same number of what value counts under each of these mentioned column, it then means that what there are missing value. So how do we sort this? This is just like revision because it's part of what we have done before. So we are going to use this particular code to call out only where we have missing what value. And I want to believe you still understand the reason why we are going this way. Why are we going this way? Why do we have to involve .nan? Sorry, why do we have to involve .any? Because if we run just FINA, sorry, it's NA. If we run just NA, we are going to have issue because we understand that the notebook may not have the capacity to display all the words. At some point, some of them will be wrapped, right? So using this logic will help us to fetch out only rows where we have missing value. So let's quickly go there and apply it. Let me use comment to explain what we want to do. So display only rows with missing values. Our syntax, as usual, will be, we'll call the name of the data, which is what? 13, right? That is what from 13, select the 13 again. From 13, select 13.isna still inside the selection bracket .any. So the .any, as we have explained before, is what we actually. Now remember that we are displaying them as row objects. So for that reason, we have to say what? As is equals to what? 1. Hope you still remember this. As is equals to 1. So let's run it. So we have only rows where we have missing value outputted. So which means that if we go to record Abigail under book, there is what? Missing value. If you go to record Amelia under book, we have what? Missing value. Now, if you look at this, look at what? We have missing value only under what? Books. Only column what? Books. So with this, we have implemented the first task that says that we find what? Missing value. Exactly. We have implemented that. So now let's go to the next task. Now, the next task says that what? In case you find missing value, you should fill them with what? It's 0. Now let's go to where we have that defined. Let me go to where we apply the assignment task under the key objective. So we just completed this task now. Now, this is where we are now. Fill in the missing value with what? 0. So to fill the missing value with 0, we are going to simply what? Remember that we know the column. We know the column from our finding that contain the missing value, which is column what? What column was that? That is book now. Under book, right? Good. So now the second task which is question 2, is fill in the missing values with 0. So what will be the syntax? The syntax will be the name of the data set, entertain, dot book. The book now, I don't know if the first letter is capital letter. Dot fill now, dot fill now, then 0. Okay, books, right? 0. So that we output them and tell us that what? All the places, these are just the values you have under what? Books, which we discover from here that all the NaN, they are under what? Books. So at DBIN, we discover that we have some under what? Movie. Then we have to what? There won't be need for us to call it this way. We will just say what? Entertain dot what? Fina. And supply what? 0, which means that what? Anywhere within the data it finds a missing value, it should be replaced with what? 0. Good, exactly. That is the syntax we are trying to highlight here. So in case, because there might be a scenario whereby the missing value in other column does not matter, and you are targeting only one particular one. So this is the syntax you use to capture it. Now remember that we use the dot method because it's just single word, right? If it is a description with 2 words like book, space, another, we have to use what? The square bracket to envelope it. Exactly. Can we proceed? Okay, so let's go back to our slide. Look at the next task. So let's save and update the what? The field value in the main data frame. Remember that you just brought out only book and pass in the 0, right? If you call that data set again now, that entertain, you will notice that the values under, let's particularize that. Look at this here. So if I mistakenly say, okay, entertain now, and run it, you can see that you are still having the what? The NaN. So which means that the whole of this value has not been substituted in the what? The data itself. That is what I'm trying to explain here. That now let's save and update the field values in the main data frame and also view only the what? The first 5 records. That is what this particular code is saying. So the only thing we will do is to call that data set. Remember how we have been updating. Coming, yes. Now we want to update. Like I said, now let's update. Let us save and update the main data flow. So the syntax to do that will be, we simply call the entertain. Then remember dot what? The book, because you have to call the header you are updating. Then equal it to what? To the one you use in substituting what? The one you use in filling the missing value. So I will just copy this and put it in front. Did you understand it? So entertain, in other words, that same logic. So why we did, or why I did the entertain dot books, because it's not all the header that I want to update. So in other words, we are saying that what? Use this code to update the value in what? Book, in this what? The data frame. That's what we are doing. Then I will just save or run. Now, if I call the data itself now, which is what? Entertain. If I call the data frame now and run it, you see that what? You no longer have what? The NaN that we were seeing there before, because they have now been updated. Is that what we did before? Okay, so just update this now. Apply this in your own phone when you proceed. Next one. Now, I think this should be the third question now. Right? That says that what? We should create what? We should create a new what? A new column and name it video game underscore what? Lovers. Using that conditional statement method. So now let's create new column using conditional statement and also view the what? The first. So it's the same thing. Now, you can see this was the formula we use. So what we are bringing here is what? NP dot what? Where? Which we use in assigning value or converting value using Python conditional statements. So let's go to the data set. So this should be question 3, right? This should be question 3. Question 3. What does it say? Create a new column. Create a new column using conditional statement. Conditional statement. So what is the syntax? So the syntax will be, remember that at this point, if we have not imported NumPy, we have to bring NumPy, right? Because we are going to involve a function that requires, which is what? That dot where. So let me not assume that maybe somewhere within the notebook I must have done that. Let me formally do it. So which is import NumPy as what? NP. Okay, so that has been confirmed. Now the syntax is to call the data frame, which is the entertain. Then select, because we are creating a new feature. we are going to use what? String to envelope it, and then we'll name it what? Video. Let me not use cap lock so that we will not have issue. Video underscore what? Underscore game underscore lover. So which means that this will create a new header in what? New feature in this data set. Now we want to equal it to the function, which is what? The np dot where. The np dot where, then we call the data set itself, which is entertain. Okay, entertain. Then we will now concatenate the actual header that will be used for the condition or as criteria for assigning 7 if a student watch video above what? 7, right? So there must be a criteria header that will determine the assignment. So the criteria header is what? What is the criteria header from this heading here? The number of what? Video game, or the number of video games the student watch. Is that what we are using as the criteria? Let's go back to the tags. Look at it here. This is where we are now. Set the value, right, to 1, right? If a student played what? More than of what? So which means that what? Out of this column, which of them are we actually using to assign this? Is here. Video game. Good. That is what, so that you know which one you are selecting for the statement. So let me not type so that I will not have typographical error. So let me just highlight and copy. And then I am bringing this here. So I'm concatenating the data to that particular column so that the program will know which of the value will be used to specify the criteria. Then we are using greater than operator. Then I'll bring in 7, then comma, 7, comma, then 1. Then otherwise, there's a place where we say otherwise it should be what? 0. Otherwise it should be 0. So if I run this now, so now if I want to see the data now to know if we have actually done that, I will just call that entertain just to be sure if the new header has been what? Added. Entertain. So you can see that what? The new header has been what? Added. Now, but we have not seen 7, but we have seen 0, we have seen what? 1. Why? So we have, so let's just display, because the number 7, the one that will have shown us where somebody actually meets that 7 hours criteria, is wrapped here. So that is the reason why I will use this method to view it. Dot what? Let me do dot head and view the first 20. I'm just trying to look for where I'll probably have someone that watch above 7. So let me view that. We still don't have that. We still don't have that. What did we use now? 20, right? So let me see if I can. Let me put 40. You see 7? Where?
That's not.
No, what did you see? You know, you are pointing at something. Yeah. Okay, good. 7 hours. Okay, let me go to the question. I'm trying to understand the question. What does the question actually say? Let me go back there, because that is what I'm trying to sort out. So this is where the question was mentioned. That what? Sets 1. I mean, we are correct now. I'm looking for where I will get 7. The criteria is that what? Once it's above 7 hours, it should be what? 1. So that means we are correct. That means we are correct. Huh?
Although they give them.
Yeah, they give.
No, that's true.
We are trying to do something like that.
This one is not fair. But
This one is about 3 different.
yeah, it's like compensation with the job.
Uh,
Well, in the other one, you use the job.
I know we're trying to rectify something like this. That was not working if we have 3 criteria. I mean, we are trying to debug something that time. Do you feel we can get it through this method?
No, well, this other one that we use, well, inside, I put the square box instead of the point there.
This was the sheet we use now, right? This was, so let me go there and check. Yeah, now. It was somewhere here. So we can go. It was somewhere here. Yeah, we use equals to.
No, not equals to.
But in this one I did now, no equals to.
Greater than now.
Yes, that's greater than. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can as well use dots.
That one said that this one is different from that.
Yes, we can use dots. We can use dots. This method is supposed to be used where we still work for where you have just single header description.
Work for double.
Yes, work for double. So now, but you know that this dot will not work for double.
It will not work for double.
Look at it now. If you are using a header with a double description, if it is like a
It does not have underscore. That's good.
exactly good. If it does not have underscore, this dot will have work. We have to use that square bracket method. Exactly now. Okay, you have applied your own, right? This one I just did now. So now we are bringing in a new topic. So we have answered all the words, the question from the previous assignments. Here we are introducing a new topic called feature engineering. So this is where we deal with creating new column. Features engineering. Features engineering. So what do we mean by feature engineering? Is the process of creating columns. If I'm still recording. Is the process of creating columns that you think will be helpful inputs for improving a model, help segment and recommend it is. So what we are saying is that in machine learning, particularly under unsupervised learning, which we are dealing with right now, there could be need for bringing in another heading. So all this while we have actually been engineering feature. I will confirm it to you. So there are a lot of things we have done that falls under features engineering. I know some time past, I said the word feature here means what? The headers, right? So which means we are saying that let's assume that we are given a data set like this. And there is need for us to add another word, heading, with different value. That means you are engineering what? Feature. And there must be a motive. There must be a goal as regard to why do you want to add a feature. Maybe there are some analysis you want to perform, and you have looked at your data set. You see that with the current header, you may not be able to get exactly what you wanted. So in that case, you might need to engineer or create new features. That is the essence of this topic. So at the end of this topic, we will now understand different techniques on how to engineer what feature. So I'm using this to explain before we go to where we'll start applying it. Now, this is, look at this data here. This is one of the data sets that we have worked with, right? And then from here, we did row granularity that help us to restructure or reshape this data to become this. Now, there are some things that are highlighted that is at the correct row granularity, which is this data now, contains what? Null, and numeric value. Include newly what? Engineer feature. What is the feature that you engineer here? Now, look at this. Here you have customer, you have gen, you have sum. But this, you now have what? What we added? We added what? PCT what? Pop. This is what we have done, trying to confirm to you that you have engineered feature before now. Even age. Okay, good. So you can see that what? Here you have engineered feature. Now, common feature engineering technique. All the data preparation steps so far that we have done, they are under what? Common what? Feature what? Engineering. So why I am explaining this, because I don't want to waste my time going through those ones. I will just consider the ones we have not done, which are considered to be like more advanced way of generating what? Feature. Now, applying calculation. Remember that there was a place where we apply what? Calculation. Binning value. I don't know if we have done that. Okay, so which means that these are the commonly used what? Data or feature engineering method. So just a brief note here. Once you have prepared the rows and column, which is assumed that we just concluded now, right? We have prepared our rows and what? Column. In the data is technically ready for what? Modeling. However, being deliberate about engineering new feature can be the differences between a good model and what? A great one. So now, that will now take us to I thought I created a link here. I want to see. Okay. Okay, so this is where I have it properly. So I've explained this slide already. So let me just go to the next slide. So review of what we have covered that falls under what? Feature engineering. So yeah, I just want to remind us before we dive into the advanced feature engineering techniques. So everything we have done so far is technically what? A feature engineering techniques, since we have created new columns before now. We just did one today now, right? We created new column or feature along the way. So setting the correct row granularity, what we are doing there falls under what? Feature what? Engineering. Ensuring each column is what? Null, and numeric. Handling missing data. Categorical encoding. All these where we use a np.what? Where dummies variable. Remember we did what? Dummies what? Variable. All of these falls under basic what? Features engineering. So now let's go to the next slide. Applying calculation. So this is where we want to start the advanced type now. Applying calculation. So you write from here, applying calculation. So in other words, how do we apply calculation to generate new feature? So there are times you can be given a data set, you have to do simple calculation, probably dividing one column value by what? Another column value, just to generate what? New feature. So you can combine columns using calculation to create new features. Okay, so this is just like a visual example before I take us to the notebook to practicalize it. Now look at this here. This is the data set we are working with. I believe we have the data set already loaded here, right? We don't have it, we are going to call it. We should have it. We don't have it. Okay. Okay, but I think I should have it, right? Okay. So now if you look at this data here, the last feature here is rock. Now here, I created a new column called what? Percentage of what? Pop. So I have pop already here. But I'm trying to calculate the percentage of pop by dividing the number of songs they listen to by what? Song gen by, do I have song? Let me see what I did here. Okay, dividing it by what? By this. And that is how we got what? This particular what? Feature generated. So we divided number with, I have it, Abby. Okay, you have it, right? So that is what we did here. So observation, just to give us insight to what we did here. We created or engineer a new feature called what? PCT what? Underscore pop, which means that the percentage of song they listen to. That is what this is what? Analyzing. So now let's go to where we are going to get the data that I'm using as what? Songs underscore what? Gen underscore dictionary. I don't think you have it. Just watch it. Yes, but you don't have this one the one that have the percentage, the PCT. You don't have it, have you? Okay, so this is how we are generating it. So now we are going to, there is a resource that I gave to you. If I have not, then I have to send it to you, where I have created a dictionary with the values I want to use to generate the feature. So like I specify here, you go to, if you have it, you go to this section called section 0 underscore data. You have it. Prepare. If you don't have it, I will send you the file. And scroll down to where you have songs underscore what? Gens underscore what? Dictionary. So once you get there, copy and paste in your notebook. So you are going to see the section you are scrolling to. You see it like this. So I just captured the image. So now I'm going to take us through the process because I have it. So this is what we're talking about. Look up. This is what we're talking about. So I'm coming here, go to my home directory. Then I will go back to where I have, if I don't have it here, let me start from here, just to be sure. Then desktop, then scroll down to where now? To the name of our data science. So we don't have the file here. Okay, I have it here. This is it here. So I'm going to open this one up. Just watch out. So this is already prepared. The one I have prepared before now, but I don't want us to start writing this code. If not, what I will have allowed you to do now, if I want to buy time, you'll be the one to be writing it. Or should I allow you to do it? Okay, yeah, go ahead. To avoid, I think it's better. Let me just pause and allow you to, so that you know how to create that dictionary.
Right.
I'm sure that I found myself teaching online now. I'm stressing it, even though if it's marker now. Okay, so in this case now, that means I have my own now. You also have your own now, right? So, I opened this file because I want to get it from here. And I say you scroll down to where you have this. This is the data. This is not it. So I'm scrolling down to data, that's a feature engineering section. Let me just go there and get my own in case Mr. Moore does not want to type. So I'm also going to send that file. So I think you guys will type, because if I send that file, everything we are doing is what it's showing. Okay, so no, don't worry, it's PowerPoint. I have not exited the PowerPoint display. Should come up. Feature engineering. Have I passed here? Yes. You have to get it. We have done all this also. I think it's this one. Yes, picture engineering. So let me just take this data so that we can be on the same page. Control C. Okay, this is where we are working, right? So I'll paste and run. So now I can go back to the slide now to continue with my explanation. So let's combine them using what? Concat. No, let me go off. Okay, this is where I got the data, right? This is the step. Then here, now let's call out the earlier worked on data. Remember the one we have worked on before, which is what? What is the name? The one that have this type of header. I think it's converted. I think my own was converted, like that.
No.
Yes, it should be there. So now the idea is that we are going to join them together. We are going to join them together then before we engineer the new feature. So let me go back there. Let me go back there. Okay. So let me just call the name first. I know it's something like converted. Are you sure it's here? Okay, let me just scroll on. It's part of the last data we work with. This one, right? This is it, Navi. Final 3. Yeah, this is final 3. Final 3. So let me just bring it closer. Final 3. Final 3. Okay. So remember we have done concatenation before now. So let's use the concat function to concatenate the two of them. The one we just brought now and this very one. So it's either you copy the syntax from here or you copy it from where I'm going to implement it. So like I said, now let's us concatenate both data. Let us concatenate both data. So using the syntax, so pd dot concat then select the two of them. Remember, if you can remember the syntax, the first one is the final 3, the comma, the one we just brought here now, which is this very one, songs underscore gens. And then remember when we were learning concatenation, we talk about two different structure, right? You can concatenate vertically or what? Horizontally. So I want this data set, songs underscore gen, to continue from this same line, which means that we have to concatenate horizontally so that it doesn't stack. So based on that, we are going to introduce as is equals to what? Comma after the selection bracket to bring in as is equals to 1. As is equals to 1. So we have been able to join them together. So let me check now. Okay, so we have it here now. Is that what you have also? Okay, you have not implemented. No, that concatenation did not work because you did not put as is equals to 1. Okay, the assignments. No.
See the one that has I intentionally didn't
Okay, so okay.
I want to push that.
I wanted to say that, but I was not. This was not given to you as an assignment. How come you're able to try it? Okay. So now we have joined the two data together now. So let's go back to our slide. So, but after joining, what did you observe? You notice extra column, right? After what? Concat. Customer is named as what? Sorry, it's the same as what? So, which means that, let me go back to the notebook. There is a kind of repetition. The same value you have under customer here are the same values you have under what? Your name in the previous data. So there's no need. So the next step, the next one we what? Therefore, to drop the common what? Headers. That is the next thing. So we have to drop the common headers. So let me go back to my worksheet. So observation here, you can see that we have common headers values such as customer is displaying the same value as name, right? Name. So therefore, drop, which one are we going to drop now? We are dropping customer and retain what? Name. Drop customer. So what will be the syntax for doing that? Syntax for doing that, you say PD dot. No, when we have gotten the final one before you know, we are still cleaning now. So there's no need of, if you store it now, you are still deleting something from it. So let us store it. So let's do that same concat, but this time around we'll put the drop. So that as it's concatenating, it should drop. That is what we are saying. So concat function selects the customer. So let me copy here to be sure that I'm working with the right case. Concat, no, sorry. Here is a final. That's final 3. That is where we have the concat final 3 and the songs, which is the data we just brought now. This one now. No, I always specify the particular one that carries the customer name that we are dropping. It's song, are we? Okay, which means that I have to. So this is not where I am dropping. So this one is just selecting the two data you want to concatenate. So this one is this. Then the next thing, we are still inside that concat function. Just immediately after the selection bracket, you put comma. Then you say as is, as usual, as is equals to 1. Then that brings us to the end of what? The concat. So the concat will have joined these two data together. Then this is where you are bringing the dropping function, which is what? Dot what? Drop. Then what is it dropping? This is where you have to specify the data sets that you are dropping for. But before that, remember the syntax, we simply say column. Say column, because it's just one header out of the whole of that data frame we are dropping. Columns, selects that particular header, which is a customer. So if I run it, so let me check, I think it has gone, right? So we have just name remaining. Have you applied yours? Yeah, quickly apply those. So let's see. So that is sorted out. Now, which other observation do we observe here? Look at this here. You will notice everything from what? Age are now what? Numeric. Let's find out if we actually have that. Everything from age now, they are now what? Numeric. They are now numeric, but it's as if this sign up, how come it came back? Do we still have it there? Is this still in your own? We remove it.
We did it now. You know, when we have to expand another customer, start working on it. That's what that is.
Oh, yes. We are trying to apply that function that did not work. That will have helped us to convert it to the day of the week.
What day of the week?
No, now, you know that day of the week have not worked for us now.
It never worked.
So that's the reason why, because that will have converted this.
Let me do the day of the week. Because I did my own sign up day of the week.
No, we still need the day of the week now. It's my own, not there. Okay, you can remove it. So in this case now, can't find it. Anyway, final. So where I applied that day of the week is not even here. You know, I know that no month work for us. It was day of the week that did not work. Month work for us, right? Month work now, one work. Or was it month that work? I know one did not work. No, one work now, one work. One work. One that was telling us 5 for me, 6 for 2. Because I don't want to. One work. Yes, now when we're doing an extraction. But we created another column that we deleted the main one. Or we did not? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's see what is remaining. So now we have to save it. But you see it now. This is, if you select this data now, day of the month work for me that I use. Look at it here now. This is what I'm talking about. Are you saying you don't have this header? Say sign up month. You don't have sign up month. No, we did sign up month now. It was sign up day of the week. It was this one that did not work. Look at this one. This is one that did not work. Wait, we did it. It's there. Let me scroll down that one. We did that. Okay, since I'm not doing anything. So let's save it as a model underscore what? This final one, the one that we have successfully removed the duplicated values from. So we save it as model underscore DM.
We did it then, and we sign up date. Now it's not override. That's it. But we do not use it again.
That is what we wanted to do. It was when we were doing that other one that did not work. We now left it.
But now we did it on. To override the other sign up. Supposed to bring another code.
Yes, but in the data set now, we don't have the sign up again. This is what we replace it with.
I don't care. It's supposed to sign up once, or we sign up
date.
So to override the other one.
So now, let's look at, let's save this one as model underscore. So the whole of that code that generated that result, we just save it as Let me just come here and say model underscore df equals to. If I want to see it now, I have to call model. That's good. So I have it completed. So that is for that. Now, let's do some calculation. Now we are gradually get to what? To the calculation aspect now. Model underscore df. Have you? Yes, model underscore df. That's simply if I have it. Model underscore df. So now let's do some calculation, but let's call out what? The pop, because the calculation we want to do will involve just two headers, right? The pop and the sum, because we want to use the values we have under pop to divide the values we have under sum. Remember that we have not engineered our feature. We are just trying to combine data together before we do that, because now we have a single data frame where we have all the required heading. Because initially, look at this here. Okay, so now we want to divide this by what? This. But before that, like I said, let's call out this. So we'll do model. Now that we have saved it as a valid data, so we can just do something like this. You can just do, let me try use comment to call out only the features values for the engineering. So number one, we are starting with model dot pop. How is this spelled? Okay, first letter, capital letter. If that calls out this, then I will also do model dot. So here, I don't think I'm able to use dot because of it's two words, hash and the sum. So let me just copy. And then I have to use the square brackets and then reference it as a string. So I have this called out. So now if I go back to my slide, the next thing is what? Performing the what? The calculation. Performing the calculation. And what is the calculation? These two values that we called out, we want to divide the pop by what? This. So I will simply write here, performing the calculation. Now, to perform the calculation. To perform the calculation by dividing the value of pop by sum, number of songs they listen to. So it will now be, I'll take this one, Control C, Control V, slash, take this one, Control C. And if I run it, I have this calculation. Now the idea is that it can be times, right? It can be plus. So this is the calculation we are trying to explain. So in case you are given a data frame and it requires dividing the value in one column or timesing or adding the values in one column by another column. So these are the techniques we are trying to master.
Okay,